Hello, I'm Jonathan with Steel Bear Academy. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to rack a slide on a semi-auto handgun. So it's important to know how to do this because this is the way in which you load rounds into and out of the chamber, how you unload your gun, how you load your gun, how you clear malfunctions. It's very important to learn that skill. So how do you do that? So racking the slide, that's what we call this motion. Racking the slide is where you would pull the slide, which is this metal piece at the top here, as opposed to the plastic or polymer frame on this Glock handgun. The slide is this piece on top that is constantly trying to close. It's under spring pressure to always close itself. So racking the slide is the process of overcoming that spring and pulling the slide all the way to the rear and letting it go. So how do you do that? So the first thing is to get a good grip with the right hand. Let's assume that you're right-handed, as most people are. So you want to get up high into the grip. So you want to get up real high onto that beaver tail, get a nice grip with your right hand. Best to have your gun in line with your forearm as best as possible. You want to make sure your finger is along the side of the frame. You want to have good trigger discipline. Don't allow your finger to slip down into the trigger guard at any point along this. It's going to be very, very tempting. So once you have established that good grip, don't allow your hand to change position. So especially if you're kind of a little weak in the hands or your hands are slippery, as you pull back on that slide, it's going to be very tempting to let your finger slip in there. Can't let it go on the trigger, can't let it go in the trigger guard. First step, get a good grip on the gun. Next thing, so how do you grab the slide? There's two main methods we're going to talk about. One is called the overhand method. So overhand method is where you're going to come over the top and hit the serrations, which are these little grooves cut into the slide, with the palm of your left hand. So you're going to come over and hit right here. See that? Now they are going to curl around the top and curl over like so. Now you're going to be squeezing together with the top here. I'm kind of doing it in an awkward position because I'm trying to show you on the camera. But once you've got this position, what you're going to do is you're going to bring the gun kind of out in front of you. This is one way to do it. I'll show you another way in a sec. You're going to push with the right, and you're going to pull back with the left. And you're going to let it go. So you want to get the slide to the rearmost position as far back as it'll go, which is right here for me. And then you're going to let the slide slip off of your hands and then return back to the closed position under the gun's own pressure. You don't want to kind of gingerly, slowly ride the slide back because that is going to cause a malfunction. It's going to make it so the rounds don't get all the way in the chamber or your slide's not going to close. So, show you one more time. Get a good grip with your right hand, come over the top with the left, pull back, let it go. The more you can incorporate pushing with the right and pulling with the left, the easier it's going to be. This method is good because you can utilize your entire hand strength. You've got the whole palm of your hand and all four of your fingers working together at the same time. But let's say this is still a little tough for you. There's lots of people who have a tough time racking a slide that way. Here's a way to make this technique easier. So instead of doing it out in front of you like this, you can pull it down toward kind of the left side of for me it's the left side of my belly here, but it could be as low as your left hip area. Basically just kind of a relaxed position down near the left side of your body. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to utilize more of our bicep, this muscle right here. We're going to try to make it more like a curl. So we're pulling up like this. This is more of a hammer curl method. So if you keep your wrists like this, lift up and down like this, hammer curl. We're going to be doing basically the same motion while also grabbing the slide. So keep the gun down toward the left side of your hip. You're going to pull up with the left, push down with the right, and you're going to rack your slide down here. So this is a way to make this technique more ergonomic. If you can't rack the slide out here, then try it down here. You want to be aware of if your range doesn't permit you pointing your gun kind of down and to the left. If this is the firing line, most people want the gun straight out in front of you, doing all your manipulations up here. check with your range, make sure that that's okay beforehand, but this way can really improve your ergonomics for doing the overhand method. Now there's another method that's called the slingshot method. So slingshot method is basically you're going to, instead of keeping the gun vertically, you're going to turn it a little bit to the left, and you are going to, show you this way, you are going to pinch with these two fingers, your thumb and your index finger, along the slide here. So the index finger is going to rub along the serrations here, thumb's going to come over on the side here, and you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be pulling back and pushing forward. For me, I find it a little easier if I basically like extend out my right and pull back with the left. But if you want to, you can also try coming back just slightly and pushing and pulling at the same time, just like we were doing with the overhand method. Pull back a little with the left, push a little with the right. Experiment with it, see if it makes it a little easier for you. So the downside of this method is you're only utilizing two fingers as opposed to the whole hand grip of the overhand method. But there are times when you might want to use the slingshot method. So for example, probably the most classic example for me is if you have any sort of gun with a slide mounted safety or slide mounted controls of any kind. So you see those wings jut out, and those can make it quite problematic to do the overhand method. So if I come with the overhand method, those little wings jam right into my palm. And if I pull back and let it go, they're going to drag along my hands, and they're gonna do some damage. They're gonna hurt my hands. So we don't wanna do that. So instead we're gonna do the slingshot method with this gun. So I'm gonna put it out in front of me, aim it in a safe direction, turn the gun slightly to the left. For me, I don't really grab the serrations on this particular gun, which are right here. I find that they're very slick and they slip off my hands pretty easily. So I like to pinch kind of on the bottom side of the safety right there. So I'm gonna get my good grip with the right, pinch right along there with the left, push forward with the right, pull back, do the slingshot method that way. And even so, these still can catch you a little bit, but this is when I would use the slingshot method, when you've got the frame or the slide mounted safeties or decockers that are typical on the Beretta handguns. Not the APX, but the Beretta 92 and the PX4 Storm. So hope this was helpful for you. If you are in the San Luis Obispo County area in California, you can reach out to me. I'm Jonathan at Steel Bear Academy. You can reach us at steelbearacademy.com. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.